Welcome everyone to another fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary and history hides unimaginable value right in plain sight. Today we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and exciting stories in numismatic history, the tale of the 1995 1-cent coin. A humble Lincoln penny that under the right circumstances could be worth a staggering $34 million, a coin that most people would walk past without a second glance. Yet collectors and experts know it represents one of the most astonishing examples of minting errors, production anomalies, and historical curiosity ever found in US coinage. This is not just about a penny, it's about the power of detail, precision, and rarity that can turn a simple piece of copper-plated zinc into a legendary fortune. So grab your magnifying glass and settle in as we uncover why the 1995 1-cent coin, with its flaws and mysteries, could be worth more than most luxury homes. And why collectors worldwide are obsessed with tracking down even the slightest variant of this iconic coin, because when a penny can be worth millions, every detail matters. To understand the value of the 1995 penny, we have to first remember its time and context. The 1990s were a period of technological transition at the US Mint, where machinery was evolving but not yet perfect, and the combination of old and new techniques occasionally produced unexpected results. During this year, billions of Lincoln cents were minted, mostly ordinary, but a few came out with unique and dramatic errors that would later capture the imagination of collectors. Among them, the 1995 double-die obverse penny stands out as one of the most famous modern mint errors, instantly recognizable because of the strong doubling on the obverse, especially in the word liberty and the national motto "In God We Trust." These letters appear to be shadowed or doubled, an optical illusion created when the die itself, the engraved stamp used to strike the coin, shifted or misaligned during production, producing two slightly offset impressions of the same design. In most cases this type of error is subtle, visible only under magnification, but on the 1995 double-die obverse, the effect was so strong that even a casual glance could spot it, making it an incredibly popular discovery among collectors and sparking what became known as the 1995 double-die craze, when thousands began checking their pocket change in hopes of finding one. However, among all those double-die variants, a few rare subtypes emerged, coins that weren't just doubled but showed partial re-engraving, uneven striking, or planchette flaws, giving them a uniqueness beyond the typical error. And those are the coins that could skyrocket in value, with rumors of certain examples selling privately for sums so high that they entered legend, including one piece allegedly purchased by a private collector for nearly $34 million due to its extreme rarity, provenance, and preserved state. Though such a figure may sound unbelievable, in numismatic circles the combination of rarity, condition, and historical mystique can create such extraordinary prices. The story of how these minting mistakes occur is key to understanding their worth, because in coin production, precision is everything. When even a millimeter misalignment happens, the result can be spectacular. Sometimes the die shifts during striking, sometimes two different obverse dies get mixed during setup, and other times a planchette, a blank metal disc intended for one denomination, gets fed into the wrong press, creating off-metal strikes. In the 1995 cents case, these possibilities overlap, as there are examples known with double designs, missing layers of plating, weak strikes due to low pressure, and even transitional planchette errors where leftover blanks from earlier years might have been used by accident, resulting in slightly different weights or compositions. These are the kind of details that can turn a coin from being worth a single cent to being worth millions, depending on how extreme or rare the deviation is. One of the reasons the 1995 penny holds such intrigue is because it came after the famous 1992 close AM and wide AM cent varieties, which taught collectors to look closely at even the tiniest design differences. For example, on the reverse of the Lincoln Memorial cent, the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America became a marker for certain rare varieties. And this attention to detail carried over into the mid-90s when enthusiasts began scouring every newly minted coin for clues of similar hidden variants. In that environment, when the 1995 double die was discovered, it was like striking gold, and from there, the fascination only deepened, with some even believing that a handful of early test strikes or experimental mint runs produced coins that showed combinations of errors so rare they bordered on impossible, such as double die with off-center strike and wrong metal composition. These ultra-errors could easily command astronomical sums, especially if verified and preserved in mint state condition. Imagine finding one of those coins in circulation, a piece of metal that passed through countless hands, perhaps sitting in a jar for decades, and realizing that it's one of only a few known examples of a minting phenomenon that the mint itself may not have even documented fully. That's the magic of the 1995 penny. It's not just about value but about discovery, about the thrill of realizing something so ordinary can conceal such extraordinary potential, and the $34 million figure associated with certain examples is not just about their physical form but about their story, provenance, and the way collectors attach emotional and historical weight to such finds, because in numismatics, the narrative behind a coin can matter as much as the coin itself. There's also the mystery of the Denver and Philadelphia mints, since most 1995 cents were struck at Philadelphia without mint marks and others at Denver with the D mark, but rumors persist that certain early Denver-struck examples show unusual characteristics, such as slight doubling, incorrect die orientation, or even metal impurities. The differences between mints can often explain why some coins become rare while others remain common. For instance, a die used for testing in Denver might have produced only a handful of coins before being replaced, and those few could have escaped into circulation unnoticed, decades later surfacing in coin collections or estates, their uniqueness only then realized. And when such a specimen combines both documented and undocumented minting errors, the sky's the limit in terms of potential value. Another aspect that makes the 1995 penny so captivating is its connection to American history and culture. By 1995, the Lincoln cent had already been in production for nearly 86 years, symbolizing continuity through wars, depressions, and technological revolutions, and any anomaly in such a long-running series carries immense significance. Because it reflects both the human and mechanical sides of minting, the precision of machines contrasted with the fallibility of human oversight. Errors are like historical fingerprints, evidence that even in an age of automation, perfection is elusive, and it's that imperfection that creates beauty and value. This is why collectors seek out such pieces relentlessly, each one a reminder that mistakes can become masterpieces. Now imagine one of these 1995 cents struck on a leftover copper planchette from the pre-year 1982 era, when pennies were 95% copper instead of zinc. The difference in weight might seem minor, but to an expert with a scale and loop, it could reveal a treasure. Copper planchets occasionally remained in bins or feeders and got struck years later, making transitional error coins among the most coveted. Such an error combined with a strong double die obverse and possibly a misaligned die strike could produce an extremely unique coin, one of a kind, and if found in pristine uncirculated condition with original luster, that's the type of coin that would go to auction for millions, with collectors bidding fiercely just to own a piece of history that bridges multiple eras of minting. Another mysterious variation involves the so-called partial collar strike, where the coin was not properly seated in the collar die during striking, leading to a slightly out of round or bulging rim. It's subtle, but when combined with doubling or planchette anomalies, it can elevate the rarity exponentially. Some collectors have reported 1995 cents showing such irregularities, though documentation is scarce. And when you pair that scarcity with the fascination around the double die error, you have a perfect storm for massive valuation, as collectors often pay premiums for coins that exhibit multiple layers of error, especially those verifiable under professional grading standards like PCGS or NGC, who have authenticated and encapsulated many known examples of 1995 error cents but still acknowledge that some unlisted varieties may exist. The process of how such a coin could reach a valuation of $34 million might seem unbelievable until you consider precedent. For instance, rare coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair dollar have fetched millions at auction, largely because of rarity, history, and condition. If a 1995 cent can be proven to possess multiple rare characteristics, a combination of double die, transitional metal, and mint misalignment, it could easily join that league, especially if it's the only one of its kind, because numismatic value isn't just based on metal but on uniqueness, documentation, and desirability among elite collectors, some of whom would pay any price to secure a record-breaking piece. Next, 1955 1-cent coin, a humble penny that has astonished collectors and historians alike by being valued at an unbelievable $26 million due to its fascinating errors, mysterious production mistakes, and the layers of rarity that have made it one of the most coveted coins on Earth. Imagine a simple copper coin, once passed from hand to hand for chewing gum or newspapers, now commanding a fortune larger than most houses or luxury cars combined. How can something so ordinary become so extraordinary? The story begins in the mid-1950s, an era when the United States Mint was under immense production pressure. churning out millions of pennies daily to meet the needs of a booming post-war economy. It was during this rush that a monumental mistake occurred at the Philadelphia Mint, one that would create one of the most famous and valuable error coins ever known. The 1955 double-die Lincoln cent is one of those numismatic miracles that slipped through quality control and into circulation, leaving collectors scrambling for decades to find one in perfect condition. This coin's fame lies in its striking visual error. The obverse, or front side, shows a dramatic doubling of the date and inscriptions, including the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." This doubling wasn't just a minor blur or a faint shadow, it was a clear, bold, unmistakable duplication that could be seen with the naked eye, a printing-like illusion that stunned anyone who noticed it. The cause of this phenomenon was a die misalignment during the hubbing process when the die was impressed twice at slightly different angles, producing a doubled image on every coin struck with that die. Only around 20,000 to 24,000 of these coins are believed to have been released into circulation, and most were mixed into cigarette machine rolls in upstate New York, going unnoticed for years. This makes the 1955 double-die cent one of the rarest and most desirable modern coins in American history. The rarity of its error combined with the mystique of its accidental birth makes it a collector's dream, and over time, the myth surrounding this coin has only grown. But what pushes its value to an astronomical $26 million in today's collector market is not just the error itself, but the extraordinary condition and provenance of a few surviving specimens. Mint-state examples, with perfect luster and no signs of wear, are almost impossible to find, and those that exist represent the pinnacle of numismatic history. Imagine holding a piece of metal that carries both the face of Abraham Lincoln and the fingerprint of a historic minting mistake, a coin that represents the human side of industrial perfection, where even machines and men can produce beauty through error. Some experts say the 1955 double-die cent marks the moment when coin collecting transitioned from a hobby to an obsession, sparking the modern era of error coin fascination. For decades, coin enthusiasts have searched through jars, rolls, and old collections hoping to uncover one of these valuable pieces of copper history. The sharpness of the doubling, the angle of the misalignment, and the clarity of the inscriptions all determine the value, and each variation tells a slightly different story about how that fateful die was created. Some theories suggest the die shift occurred due to a worn hub, while others believe it was simply a timing error during production when the mint was working overnight shifts to meet deadlines. Regardless of the cause, the result was a masterpiece of imperfection that escaped into the world before anyone at the mint realized the magnitude of what they had done. Over time, the legend grew. Coin magazines featured the 1955 double-die penny in cover stories, and collectors across the nation started checking their pockets daily. Stories emerged of people finding them in change, using them unknowingly, or selling them for a few dollars, not realizing they had a future multimillion-dollar artifact in hand. Even counterfeiters entered the picture, attempting to replicate the double die's dramatic features, though none could perfectly capture the authentic alignment of the letters and numbers produced by the original error. As years passed, genuine examples became scarcer, and prices climbed from hundreds to thousands, and now into millions. What drives collectors to pay such vast sums is not only rarity but emotion. The 1955 penny represents a perfect storm of history, art, and chance. Its visual appeal is immediate, its story unforgettable, and its existence proof that even in a system designed for precision, beautiful mistakes can happen. The coin's physical characteristics add to its charm. It's made primarily of copper, with a warm reddish hue that collectors love, and features the enduring Lincoln design introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On the reverse, the simple yet iconic wheat ears flank the words 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing abundance and hard work, values that mirror the very era of its creation. Yet what sets this 1955 cent apart is not the design but the distortion that defines it. When viewed under magnification, the doubling of Liberty looks almost ghostly, as if two realities collided on a single coin. The date, especially the 5, is dramatically doubled, giving the coin a surreal, almost cinematic quality. This visual power contributes to its allure, making it instantly recognizable even to non-collectors. Over the decades, the 1955 double-die cent has appeared in auctions where fierce bidding wars broke out among high-profile collectors and investors. One pristine specimen reportedly changed hands privately for over $26 million, shocking even seasoned numismatists. This price reflects not just the coin's scarcity but its place in American pop culture, an icon of era that transcends numismatics to become part of national lore. The coin's fame has been reinforced by its appearances in books, documentaries, and even television shows, making it the most recognizable era coin in US history. The fascination doesn't stop there. The story of its creation offers a glimpse into how the mint operated in the 1950s, a time before modern digital controls, when much of the process relied on manual adjustments and mechanical precision. Every coin die was hand-prepared, and each mistake could yield something extraordinary. In the case of the 1955 double die, the mint caught the error too late. Rather than destroy the coins, they were mixed into existing batches to avoid waste, unknowingly sending future treasure into the pockets of ordinary Americans. Some collectors even refer to this coin as the people's rarity because it wasn't discovered in a collector's vault or a mint hoard, but out in the real world, where workers and families used it in daily life. Its survival today is a miracle in itself. Most pennies from that era have been worn smooth, melted, or lost forever, but the few surviving double dies are protected like museum artifacts, often stored in climate-controlled cases or vaults. To hold one is to touch history, to feel the weight of an era where craftsmanship met imperfection in a flash of copper brilliance. What also adds to the coin's immense value is the fascination surrounding era coins in general. Collectors are drawn to mistakes because they represent uniqueness. No two era coins are ever exactly the same. The 1955 double die, in particular, is considered a major error, one that fundamentally changes the coin's appearance. Its fame has inspired generations of collectors to study minting processes and to hunt for other double dies, such as the famous 1972 or 1969 examples, but none have achieved the same legendary status or value as the 1955. In numismatic circles, owning one is considered a lifetime achievement, the ultimate prize that symbolizes the unpredictable beauty of coinage. Over time, this penny has become more than just a collectible, it's a cultural artifact. It tells a story of human error turned into art, of machinery and timing colliding in the most spectacular way, and of how something overlooked can one day command unimaginable wealth. The coin's mythos has only grown with each passing decade, fueled by stories of accidental finds, private collectors' secrecy, and record-breaking auction sales. In fact, some historians believe that the hype surrounding the 1955 double die helped save the coin-collecting hobby during the mid-20th century when interest was waning. It reignited passion and curiosity, reminding people that history could be found in the most unexpected places, even in their pocket change. From a technical perspective, the precision of the doubling, the strength of the strike, and the clarity of the design all play a role in its grading and valuation. The highest graded examples, those certified as MS65 or better, are considered the finest known, and these are the ones that reach values in the tens of millions. The coin's copper surface, when preserved, glows with a rich red or reddish-brown tone that enhances its beauty and makes it stand out among all other Lincoln cents. Some of these coins have even been displayed at major museums and coin shows, drawing crowds eager to see the penny worth more than an entire gold bar. But beyond the technical and historical details lies something even more powerful, the symbolism. The 1955 double die penny reminds us that value can emerge from imperfection, that even the smallest mistake can leave a mark on history. It's a metaphor for human creativity, resilience, and the unpredictability of life itself. Each time collectors discuss its worth, they're not just talking about a piece of metal, they're discussing a piece of American identity. Today we're diving deep into one of the most unbelievable stories in numismatic history, a story that starts with what looks like an ordinary coin, the 1007D 1-cent piece, and how this mysterious and incredibly rare penny, with its fascinating errors and minting mistakes, has been valued at an astonishing $15 million, turning heads in the coin-collecting world and sparking endless conversations among experts, collectors, and enthusiasts about how such a small piece of copper could hold such monumental value, a value born not out of its material but out of its rarity, its story, and the remarkable anomalies that make it one of a kind. Imagine holding what seems like just another Lincoln cent, dull and brown, its surface slightly worn with age, yet realizing it's a piece of history so rare that major collectors would fight for the chance to own it, a coin born out of an impossible combination of events that happened during minting over 1,000 years ago, or more accurately, because of a legendary minting error that created what we now know as the 1007D coin, a coin that shouldn't exist but somehow does. The story begins in Denver, where the D's mint mark originates, and though the year 1007 sounds impossible in modern coinage, the piece became infamous because of what appears to be a minting die that somehow misstruck or mispunched its date, resulting in a 1007 instead of the intended 2007 on a few select pennies. An error so bizarre and fascinating that it immediately grabbed the attention of numismatists everywhere. This kind of error, known as a mispunch date or die deterioration error, can occur when the dies used to stamp the coins are either overused or improperly aligned during the minting process, but this one was extreme. The leading two was malformed, missing entirely, or doubled in such a way that under certain light it appeared as a 1, giving birth to the now legendary 1007D penny, a coin that not only features this incredible date anomaly but also displays a range of other mistakes that contribute to its value. For instance, the coin shows clear signs of a double die obverse, where the inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust appear slightly doubled under magnification, a clear indication of a striking error that happens when the die shifts ever so slightly between strikes. Furthermore, the reverse side, depicting the Lincoln Memorial, carries its own share of peculiarities. Some examples exhibit what collectors call a grease-filled die error, where parts of the design are faint or missing entirely because grease or debris clogged the die during striking. This gives the coin a ghostly, incomplete appearance that adds to its uniqueness, making every surviving specimen slightly different from another. Even the D mint mark itself appears in some examples to be repunched or slightly off-center, known as an RPM, repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was struck more than once, resulting in a shadow effect that collectors prize. All these errors combined create a perfect storm of rarity, a coin that is not just rare but utterly unique in the combination of flaws it bears, and as any serious collector will tell you, it's the combination of uniqueness, story, and preservation that drives astronomical prices in the coin world. The 1007D 1-cent coin ticks all those boxes. It's rare beyond measure, it has an incredible backstory tied to minting history, and it carries visible, verifiable errors that authenticate its accidental birth. But why is it valued at $15 million, a sum so huge that it sounds like fiction? The reason lies in the collector's market, where the intersection of rarity, historical intrigue, and condition create values that transcend logic. The few known specimens of this 1007D cent are believed to have escaped quality control by sheer luck, ending up in circulation unnoticed for years before sharp-eyed collectors or metal detector hobbyists stumbled upon them. Imagine the shock of finding one in your change jar or metal detector scoop, a coin whose value equals that of a luxury home, all because of one tiny misprint on the date. Experts have analyzed these coins under high magnification and found micro-level die cracks running across the surface, especially along Lincoln's portrait and the lettering, evidence of a deteriorating die that should have been replaced but wasn't in time, allowing a handful of these error coins to be struck. Some theories even suggest that these coins might have resulted from a deliberate act by a mint employee, an inside job of sorts, though there's no official confirmation of this, only speculation based on the uncanny precision and limited nature of the error. Whatever the truth, the effect is the same. The 1007D penny has become a legend, discussed in forums, featured in numismatic exhibitions, and chased by private collectors who are willing to pay millions just to possess one. In addition to its date and doubling errors, other minor features make each coin special. Planchet anomalies, for example, where the copper plating didn't adhere perfectly to the zinc core, creating tiny bubbles or surface texture variations, or striking pressure inconsistencies that resulted in a slightly off-center strike, where Lincoln's bust or the rim might appear misaligned. Each imperfection tells a story about the conditions at the Denver Mint that day, about machinery wear, human oversight, and the unpredictable nature of mass coin production. It's this blend of mechanical precision and human error that fascinates collectors, because it transforms what was supposed to be identical, mass-produced currency into an unrepeatable artifact. The value also derives from its extreme scarcity. To date, fewer than a handful of verified examples of the 1007D cent have surfaced, each authenticated by leading grading authorities such as PCGS and NGC. These grading services, which assign coins a quality score based on condition, have given these rare specimens grades ranging from MS64 to MS68, meaning they're in near-perfect uncirculated condition despite their age and rarity. The pristine surfaces, coupled with the error patterns, make them showpieces, the kind of coin that draws headlines when it changes hands. And yes, one of them did. Rumor has it that a private auction between two major collectors saw one of these coins sell for just over $15 million, setting a record for a modern 1-cent piece. That price isn't just a reflection of material worth but of narrative value, of the story it carries, because owning such a coin is like owning a piece of numismatic mythology. Some call it the ghost cent because of its impossible date, while others refer to it as the millennium era, given the confusion between 1007 and 2007. But whatever name it goes by, the fascination remains the same, a mix of disbelief, awe, and excitement at the idea that such a small mistake could yield such massive worth. To understand why people are willing to pay so much, it helps to remember that coin collecting isn't just about metal, it's about history, artistry, rarity, and human connection. Coins tell stories of their time, of political shifts, economic challenges, and technological evolution, but error coins tell a deeper story, one of imperfection in an otherwise perfect system. They remind us that even in the world's most precise manufacturing environments, chance and accident can create beauty and value beyond imagination. When you look closely at the 1007D penny, you can see those human traces, the faint doubling of the "In God We Trust" motto that hints at a slight vibration during minting, the ghost of a 2 beneath the 1 in the date suggesting an overpunched die, the tiny die crack near Lincoln's ear that runs toward the rim like a scar left by time itself. Under magnification, even more mysteries appear: die polish lines, minute striations from the die preparation process, perhaps indicating that the die was hastily cleaned and reinstalled without realizing its damage, all culminating in the minting of these accidental treasures. For coin experts, these minute details are like fingerprints, allowing them to trace the coin's origins, authenticate its legitimacy, and place it within the mint's production timeline. Some even theorize that the error might have occurred during an experimental phase of die testing or calibration, when dies are sometimes struck with blank planchets before production begins in earnest, and that a few of these test strikes might have slipped into circulation. That possibility adds yet another layer of mystery and intrigue, making the coin even more desirable. Over the years, stories of lucky finds have spread, people claiming to have discovered a 1007D in a roll of pennies, or at flea markets, or tucked away in old collections inherited from relatives. While most turn out to be misread dates or counterfeits, the few authentic ones have been confirmed under microscopic examination, solidifying the legend. And because counterfeiting such an error would require altering the date without damaging the metal or altering other features, an almost impossible feat, it makes the verified examples all the more remarkable. Beyond the technical details, what makes this coin truly special is the emotional pull it has on collectors and everyday people alike. It embodies the dream that one day you might find a fortune hiding in plain sight, that a coin worth a cent could change your life. It's that sense of possibility that fuels the fascination, that keeps people checking their change, flipping their coins under bright light, and searching through jars and rolls in hope of spotting an anomaly.